Let's take a look at some play situations. What I've decided to do for this season is to pick one category or one type of play each week and focus on the rule itself, on our philosophies, and then some video examples. So this week I've chosen to focus on rundowns and all the things that normally or can develop during a rundown, and then specifically on a runner being out of the base path. So let's start with that, out of the base path. You can look it up in Rule 8.5a. I don't think this is a hard rule. It's something that we probably all understand the rule itself. The difficulty is in making this judgment call. We know that this rule applies to a runner who's trying to avoid being tagged out, and they run more than 3 feet left or right from a direct line between the base and the runner's location at the time that play or a tag is being made. From our philosophies and guidelines document, as the rundown develops, the covering umpires must be aware that there are 3 things that are very possible outside the normal just everyday tag and out. That is a runner running out of the base path potentially, obstruction by a defensive player, and of course those difficult swipe tags right in the middle of the rundown. It is our philosophy that the umpire to whom the runner is advancing toward would have first responsibility, primary responsibility for any of these violations. So let's recap. A runner establishes their path to the next base with every single step that they take. They must be in a direct line to the next base. There must be an attempted tag on the runner to have an out of the base path call. And more than 3 feet of that direct line, normally the second full step puts that runner more than 3 feet out of the line. Our philosophy is, when in question, if in doubt, or default to ruling out of the base path in these situations. Let's jump into some plays involving rundowns. This first one will develop between third base and home plate. And what you'll see is after the catcher throws to the third baseman, he stays in this line and actually obstructs the runner. A really good call here. Not a lot of movement by the runner, but enough. This catcher does not have the right to be in this position. This is obstruction. I show you this play because there's just a lot going on. And as we know, a lot of things can happen when we get into a rundown situation. We have several rundowns that occur in this play. First of all, note the third base umpire there in a good spot to rule when you have 2 runners near the base. Now, as this last rundown develops, you'll see a swipe tag develops. The plate umpire is off the line, does not have a great look. Actually, I think gets straight lined on this potential tag, calls the runner out, and of course, we're going to have a significant argument here. The third base umpire continued to officiate this play. As you see there was no tag. We ended up changing this call to safe and scoring this run. I think a really good job by all involved. Again, a tough call to not get correct initially, but eventually got it right. Here's another rundown, and like in the previous play, we have 2 runners ending up at third base. I really like the job that the third base umpire does here by stepping in, pointing to the runner that is out by rule here, and getting the right runner out and off the base. A lot of times it gets confusing for us. I think this is handled really, really well. Here's another rundown between third and home. This is a tight one. This is ruled out of the base path on the field. I believe it's close, but if we stick to our philosophy of if in doubt, if in question, getting this out, I think is a good call. Here's another rundown between third and home. This runner takes 2 steps. The second step there puts him out of the base path. We do not call this in this situation. I think this would be a better call for out of the base path. There are a lot of things that I think that we can learn on this play, and I think I've shown this play before. This is a swipe tag by the third baseman on the runner coming from second to third. A couple of things to note first. First, the third base umpire, again the umpire who the play is coming to, who we want to have primary responsibility, doesn't make this call. In fact, signals that there's nothing. The second base umpire, who you see in the middle of the field, actually makes this call. I love the fact that that second base umpire steps up and takes the argument because he's the one that made the call. This is a great low camera shot that will show you where the runner's right foot is at the beginning of his deviation from the base path, and then where the right foot ends up here after the avoidance. This really should be out of the base path. This is far more than 3 feet. You see the umpire making the call there from the middle of the field. In this play, ground ball fielded by the second baseman, R1 advancing towards second. You'll see him run in front of the fielder. There's no tag attempt here. We cannot have a runner out of the base path when there's no tag attempt. Good no call here. This play gets a little crazy. Run down between second and third, several tag attempts, several potential out of the base path. This first one, no tag attempt there. He's fine. This one, out of the base path, out of the base path. I'm going to slow it down, let you take a further look at this, but I think you should probably know that by at least my philosophy, we would be better off having out of the base path in this situation. I think it's the right call. So this is a play that develops at home plate, not a rundown, but a tag attempt at home plate on this runner. You'll see it from this angle as well. As the runner approaches home plate, he deviates and goes away from his direct path and ends up far behind home plate. This is out of the base path. Should be killed and called out. I want to close with this last play, and I want to illustrate what 3 feet looks like because we have the runner's lane here. By looking at the runner's lane, we can have a great gauge here as to what is 3 feet. This runner starts way inside the foul line and ends up way outside the box. That's easy here. I just want to make the point that in reviewing video, watching a lot of these type plays, 3 feet is not very much. And I think we tend to let this play stand and not make an out of the base path call when we're probably not getting them all right. Take a look at this again. Before I close, I just want to encourage you to send me play situations that you know happen in your games or plays that you see online, on television. Those help me a great deal. Not having to watch full games to find a play here and there saves me a great deal of time. So to close video bulletin number 1 of the season, I want to talk about expectations. The 5 things that I'm going to ask of each and every one of you, those that have been around 20 plus years and those that are the first year on our staff. First, be engaged. Be engaged on and off the field. Be engaged with our quizzes and our videos. Always working to get better at our craft. Number 2, communicate. Communicate with me any issues or problems. Communicate with game management and operations. Communicate with coaches and players. Communicate effectively. Number 3, work hard. That should speak for itself, but I need you to go out every weekend, every single game, and give it your best effort. If you're injured or not feeling well, don't go on the field. That is not a reason or an excuse to not be working hard. Number 4 is be respectful. I ask that you be respectful of my time and the job that I have to do. Communicate again well with me. Don't make my job harder. I don't expect you to make my job easier, just please don't make it harder. Be respectful of your crewmates and your crew chief. Be respectful of the participants, players, and coaches. Treat everyone with the respect they deserve. And lastly, of course, number 5 is have fun. The job that we do as sports officials at this level is incredibly difficult, incredibly stressful on and off the field. It's stressful to our families and to our careers. You must go out there and at least be enjoying what you're doing. Enjoy your time on the field. Enjoy the environment of college athletics. That's it for our first video bulletin of the season. I'm ready to get started. I hope you are. Thank you for the time and effort you've put in preparation for the season, and I hope you have a great first weekend.